on my first step ever, my ninjas, my friends. Since past couple of episodes, we have been learning that how can we improve ourselves in different aspects of life. But there always is a moment where we feel demotivated, we feel discouraged. And sometimes you see the cycle repeating itself. So, what is that one aspect that can help you push through those moments? And today we are going to address that important topic, which is emotional intelligence. And I'm so thrilled to invite an expert in this field who's doing amazing job. Please join me in welcoming Kat Jeffrey. Hi, Kat. Thank you for being on my first step ever.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for asking me to come on.
See, that is the kind of energy that we are talking about. Before we dig in and before I ask a lot of questions that I think a lot of listeners also have in mind, I would like to introduce you to our guest speaker today, Kat Jeffrey. She is a leadership, mindset, and career coach, and she's very, very passionate about emotional intelligence. And that is the reason that we have her here to speak on this topic. As you can see, she is a vibrant, energetic, and a mentor to many people who are not sure what they want in their career, or they are there in their career but they want to become better at themselves. So, from what I understand, Kat really helps the senior leaders in their journey to, even do better at a level where they are. But today, the reason she has agreed to, shell out some time for our graduates, students across the globe, so that they can know the essence from the very beginning, from the very get go of their career. So, Kat, thank you so much. And start by asking this very cliched question, but a very important one because we would like to know that where did you get this interest in emotional intelligence? What did you drive you to this particular aspect of life?
Yes, amazing. So, firstly, thank you for that amazing introduction. That was awesome. Okay, so what got me interested in emotional intelligence? Do you know what? It actually started for me all the way back in school. So when I was in school, I actually had a lot of learning difficulties. So I wasn't really good at spelling or reading, and I struggled in class a lot. I've since, as an adult, found out I'm dyslexic, which all makes sense now. But in year 11 and 12, there was a topic or a subject called life management, okay? And really what that was emotional intelligence. It was all about managing your own life, managing your emotions, being aware of your emotions, and being aware of other people's emotions as well. And I excelled in this class. Like, I was teacher's pet. It was the only class I was teacher's pet. And I loved it. I was just like full of the like passion and energy. I knew all the answers. I always had so much to contribute. So from doing life management, I then have really taken that into my career. I've always been focused on personal development and really focusing on this topic of emotional intelligence. And it's just grown. My passion for it's grown and grown.
That sounds very exciting because having a life management class, a lesson in the universities, or maybe in school, as you mentioned at your school time, that I think that's really nice. I think that was a great blessing for you. Not a lot of us have that sort of lessons, or maybe they are named differently, and we really don't get the crux of what it is all about. And as and when we grow, that is the one thing. Emotions. That is one thing that either can come in the way of what you want to do or can really help you move forward if you know how to manage it. And I think being at this point, being a graduate myself and going ahead with my journey, I have been dealing with this emotional intelligence quotient a lot and trying to improve on it and see what are people doing over there. And I really liked your work, and I was very excited to have you over here. So now, knowing a little bit about where it stemmed from and that you were naturally good at it, I would like you to maybe take us through top one or top two such cases that you have seen in your journey so far, or maybe you have, helped people in which you have seen what is the thing that they struggle with most in terms of emotional intelligence, and how can they really, turn around their life?
Yeah, awesome. Awesome question. So I think the biggest thing that comes for me when I'm working with people is just awareness of your emotions. Because basically, I kind of break it down into three steps. So, what happens is something happens around us, a scenario, an event happens around us, and three things happen. First of all, we think, we have a thought about what's happening. Then we have a feeling or an emotion to what's happening. And then we act on that emotion, right? So we behave in a certain way. So what we often find, and those three things happen really quickly, we think, we feel, we act. Yeah. And so for me, and what's been most successful for myself and my clients, is understanding that you can take a break between the think, feel before you act. Stop, take a breath, realize the feeling, and choose your response differently. Now, if you don't do that, say for example, something around you makes you really angry. So somebody said something about you, so you think, oh, how dare they say that? All of a sudden, this anger comes on, this feeling comes on, and then you're like, how dare you say that? You act, you yell at them, you get aggressive, or you lose your temper, and then you're the one who ends up looking bad opposed to the other person. So if the biggest thing for me and my clients is having, number one, awareness of your emotions. And if you can stop in between the feel and act, it's a game changer.
When we are dealing with the emotions, it gets so difficult to actually think that what's happening, and we just want to give a response, like it's not even a response, we just want to react at that particular moment.
Yes.
And that is such a basic of everything that Kat you just mentioned
Mm.
today. And if you are dealing with some emotions at any particular time in your life,
Mm-hmm.
listeners, students across, and I think you are at this point for sure, as
Yeah.
anyone else is. Um, Firstly, kudos to you guys, because you are learning, you're studying, and then you are also kind of managing your emotions. And I think at this point in time, we have people like Kat who have volunteered their time to help you to know that how you can actually navigate through that situation. So that was very interesting to know. I do have another question, because I think when you were
Yeah.
speaking, before I get to the other question that I wanted to,
Yeah.
I just kind of had this question. Normally, when you are at the very beginning of your career, like how most of us are right now who are listening, um, you are at an interview, or you just get a job and you start. That's when you really have to manage your emotions, because you are being introduced to situations which you have not ever been, because prior to that, you were in a very safe environment with
Yes.
your family, with your friends, and
Mm-hmm.
then comes an entire different environment where you have people, and you cannot control how someone speaks to you, how they talk to you. Even
Yes.
if someone wants to make you understand something about you to help you grow, it can be taken in a wrong way.
Yes.
From that perspective, Kat, for our listeners like who are just starting out, with a very simple, if you have an example from your long lasting, very successful career of leadership, there's one example that maybe you had faced and you learned something out of it that you would like to share with our listeners.
Yeah. Okay. So I will tell you one where I lost my cool. Right. So basically, I was I younger on in my career, I was very proud. I always wanted to, I was a high achiever. I wanted to do really good, and if I didn't do well, then I was really hard on myself. And there was this scenario where I had so basically, I was making a payment. I worked at a bank, and what happened was, instead of putting, so the amount was $160 that I was meant to pay, but instead of putting the amount, I put the BSB number, which
Oh,
ended up being like $80,000.
oh my god.
So I I
Oh,
paid $80,000 instead of $160.
oh my god.
Mistake. And anyway, so when it got raised to me that I'd made this mistake, so straight away I went, no, I didn't. Like, went into defense mode. Like, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. And then when I actually seen the evidence that like I did do it, my emotions were so strong. I was just so overwhelmed. I just burst into tears. Like I just couldn't deal with what had happened. And, you know, I was like frantic. I didn't know what was going on. All these crazy things are going through my mind. And then when I actually, first of all, that I didn't do it wrong. And then when I had done it wrong, I was just absolutely devastated. So everybody in the office is looking at me because I'm like crying. So anyway, so I kind of like took some breaths, and my manager was actually really good at the time. But what that was an example of my emotions just overcoming me. Like it was just way too much. So my advice to begin with, what got me into that emotional state was that panic, that defense to begin with, right? So I was thinking, no, I didn't do it. I was feeling that's not fair. That shouldn't be me. And then this big emotional roller coaster came. So what I could have done differently was stopped, take some deep breaths, look at the evidence before I start responding, before I start saying, no, it wasn't me, because that's what made me embarrassed, because I said, no, it wasn't me. It couldn't be me. And then when it was me, all these emotions started coming over. So instead of responding to begin with, stop, breathe, relax, look at the evidence, and then it would have been such a different scenario.
Let me first really appreciate you for sharing that, cat, because it takes a lot of guts to share your moment of embarrassment in front of so many people, and I could relate to it because there have been situations like that, and that's exactly, I think, what we do unless we are aware of such situations.
Yeah.
And I would also like to tell our listeners that I'm sure a lot of us, a lot of you have been in similar situations. That's okay because we are humans and things happen. But what is the best part about is that you can learn. And when you learn from your mistake, you know what happened. And as Kat mentioned, she has also, given us sort of a, pathway that what you can, how you can reflect on it, break it down, and how you can not repeat that mistake next time for a better situation, how you can handle better.
Absolutely. And that's what we've got to learn. Life's not perfect. We're not always going to do the right thing all the time. And it's okay if we stuff up. It's okay if we make a mistake. All you need to do is reflect on it, learn from it, and move forward.
The next question that I'm going to ask is something that you help the senior leaders in their career, but today you are also willingly able to help our listeners. What are the top three advice that you would like to give our listeners at this point in time, because they're just starting off their career, in terms of managing their emotions, importance of emotions?
Awesome. Okay, the first one is no emotions are good or bad. Okay? All emotions are real and they're valid. So if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling upset, that is okay. It's a valid emotion, because emotions are actually information to us. Something around us is happening, right? So this is I love doing this example, because if we were happy all the time, all right, imagine somebody breaks into our house and we're like, welcome to our house, come inside and take everything, right? We need to feel fear, we need to feel anger, because we need to protect ourselves. Okay, so all emotions are valid. So if you are feeling angry, if you are feeling anxious, if you're feeling something that's labeled a bad emotion, don't try and suppress it and say stop feeling that. It's valid. Embrace the emotion. Okay, there's some emotions we would rather feel more often than not. Like, I like feeling happy, but I can't feel happy all the time. Okay, so that's number one. All emotions are valid. Number two is emotions come and they go. Okay, so imagine, I like using analogies. So if you imagine like waves in the ocean, so there's a wave coming from out at sea and it's coming to the shore. So just like your emotion, it comes, it peaks, okay, it breaks, and then it goes. Okay, so if you're feeling angry, it's going to come, there's a reason why, it's going to peak, but it goes away. You don't feel angry forever. If you're feeling anxious, it comes, it peaks, and it goes. The same as if you're feeling happy. We're not going to feel happy forever. It comes, it peaks, and it goes. So just know that your emotions aren't going to stay forever. So that feeling of, hurt or embarrassment, like I was feeling when everybody in the office was seeing me cry, it comes and the embarrassment goes. So that is, think about emotions like waves. It's going to come and it's going to go. But sometimes when it's just about to peak, it feels like, oh, it's never going to go away. I'm never going to stop feeling that. But it does go away. Okay. And then the third one is be aware of your emotions. Having that kind of stopping in between those three is super critical. So just even having awareness of your emotions and being able to articulate your emotion. Like, I am feeling anxious today. I am feeling like on edge today. I am feeling joyful today. I'm feeling excited today. So have awareness of your emotions. That would be my third tip.
I was listening to you very intently, Kat, and that sort of each, the advice that you've given us right now, I could relate it with a situation in my life,
Mm,
and how if I use that can be helpful. So that's very much relevant for me as well.
yeah,
So thank you for taking us through those little piece of advice.
yeah.
I was kind of wondering, because for you yourself, because you're dealing with so many leaders and they're coming with their challenges with you, and I'm sure like you are the powerhouse and you are an expert at this. Do you ever deal with a dull moment in your life, or maybe you just term it differently, and how you kind of really go past that?
Yeah, okay, all right, absolutely. So you can see my energy, and you can see like I can be really high energy and feel happy and joyful, but it can also go to really angry and really frustrated. So what I do is I label it. So when I'm feeling angry, frustrated, or whatever those strong emotions are coming on, I call it red box. Okay, so imagine like red box steams coming off my head. So my family and friends know this, and my work colleagues as well. When I was in corporate and people reported to me, if I was feeling like really highly angry or frustrated or whatever it may be, I would say, I'm feeling red box right now. I can't respond to you. Right? So instead of responding and getting angry or swearing or saying something that I'm going to regret, I would say, I'm just really red box. I can't respond. I need to take a time out. And one of the things that helps me is going outside and getting fresh air. So if I'm feeling red box, number one, I have the awareness, I label it, and everybody knows. So it's kind of like, it's almost a joke. It's like, oh, cat's red box. But it kind of, instead of saying like everybody going, oh, cat's really angry, or cat, don't go near cat, it would turned into a bit of a running joke, like cat's red box, don't go near it, or hey, can we get you a coffee, cat, or something like that. And so I go and get some fresh air, walk around the block usually, come back, totally different state of mind. And then, okay, I can respond now. But I also am not afraid to tell people I feel angry right now. Okay, so it's not your fault I feel angry. This is my emotion. Okay. When you say to someone, you made me angry, you're like, oh, that's very accusive, right? It's not their fault you're feeling like that. It's your own emotions. So I say, I'm feeling angry. This is my emotion. I'm owning it. So that's how I deal with it.
And that is such an important aspect. I think just by naming something a little different changes the entire meaning, or maybe the feeling around it, because I think the moment you mention I'm not angry, I'm red boxed,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
the intensity kind of comes down, and you're not concentrating on the word angry, but now you're concentrating on how you can maybe come out of that situation, or how you can deal with it.
Absolutely.
That was I'm just having so much fun speaking to you right now, learning so many techniques that you can help us, really go forward in our journey, because once we are on a journey of achieving our dreams, there are hurdles, challenges, and the topping the charts is definitely our emotions. So
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're here today, and with your expertise and your knowledge that you have, especially the passion, I can see that coming through when you speak and when you share your knowledge is incredible. So
Thank
thank you so much, Kat. I have asked you so many questions today, and we've really got a lot of good points out of that. And actually, to end this particular episode, I was
you.
wondering if you're able to give our listeners a go to exercise, a to do list, something like that, that they can do when, I mean, we have discussed a lot, but if you would like to maybe put down like top three things that they can actually do if they're feeling really angry or really stressed out today, right at this moment. So, yeah,
Yes.
over to
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so there's a couple of things. One, to an exercise to have awareness of your emotions is by, for do a challenge 14, 20 days to just journal your key emotions that you were feeling that day. So at the end of the day, maybe 3 or 4 emotions, think what were the emotions that I predominantly felt today, that I mainly felt today. I mainly felt joyful. I mainly felt angry. I mainly felt anxious. Just do that for 14 days or 20 days, okay? Writing it down. Then look back and think, okay, if I was angry every day, what was triggering me? Or if I was happy every day, what was making me happy every day? So that's a really good exercise I actually give to my clients to do, just to, number one, have awareness. And remember, there's no good or no bad emotion. All emotions are valid. So write those down. In regards to managing your emotions in the moment, okay, the biggest piece of advice is stop, pause, and breathe. Now, sometimes, especially when you're younger, you think, oh, if I pause, I look silly, or it looks like I don't know what to say, but it's okay just to stop and pause, because that pause can be such a game changer. Take a breath. You're actually now thinking, okay, I'm angry. Don't respond how you first thought. Take a moment and think about it a different way. So stopping, pausing, and breathing in the moment. The other thing is, if you're feeling a very strong emotion coming on, if you can label it, like make up something fun like red box, or, blue head or something like that, and that you actually start giving your friends and family awareness of this. Label it, create a fun name for it. If you can, use my example of red box. And then another thing to do, which you can't always do, but don't respond. If you are super emotional, like there's a really emotional response coming over, this is where red box comes in. I'm red box now, I can't respond, and go out and do something. So whether, like, it's get away from the situation if you can. Fresh air is always good. Exercise is always good. Writing down your thoughts, always good as well. So say, for example, I would say for your listeners, especially with your parents, your parents do something that really annoys you. Instead of yelling at them or saying something mean and nasty, take a breath, don't respond, say, Mum, I'm feeling frustrated. So instead of saying, you're making me feel frustrated, you don't understand, I'm feeling frustrated right now, let me come back to you. I don't want to respond to you right now. That's going to be a really big difference. And then your mum or your parents will be like, oh, what have I done to cause that? Opposed to, it ending in an argument, for example. So that would be my advice.
Brilliant, brilliant. Because I think all these points that you've mentioned, they are actionable points, which I think if we sit down and we tend to do, we will be definitely able to, figure out how to deal with emotions.
Mm-hmm.
One big takeaway from our conversation today is that be aware of yourself. These are your emotions. You have to manage, deal, understand them. And one more thing that Kat said today, they are all valid.
Yes.
So I hope all of you, I am very sure that you have definitely, that there's a light bulb that has gone out somewhere. It will definitely help you once you start putting things into action. And
Yes.
before we say goodbye to Kat today, I want to thank her for coming over here and giving those a little bit of life lessons in terms of emotional intelligence, because that is so important in our life at any stage. Whoever is listening to us, it will be beneficial to all of them. So let us all thank her for giving her time and sharing her knowledge and expertise. And if you would like to show gratitude to her, you can always reach out to you on LinkedIn.
Yes, LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she is the founder of KMG Coaching, Leadership and Mindset Coaching.
Mhm.
And I would like to thank you over here, Kat. Before you leave, is there any quote that you resonate with that you want to tell our listeners?
It starts with you.
Stop.
You. Mic drop.
So if it starts with you, this is your time, my friends. Thank you so much for being here, Kat. I'm really honored, privileged, and I had a fun chat with a really important message that you gave us today, that it all starts with you. And there are multiple things that you can do today, which Kat has shared. I am Ishani Nigam, your host for my first step ever, signing off for this week and eagerly waiting to have you and our next speaker again for the next week. See you.